everyone, it's Shane Conto, your Wasteland reviewer, and welcome to the Streaming Wasteland here on the SPM Crew Podcasting Network. And this is my weekly show where each week, each Friday, I pick three streaming services and pick one previously released film off of each. And hopefully by the end of this episode, you have a nice full weekend of movies to go check out. And this week, I'm going to be focusing on AMC Plus, Peacock, and the Criterion channel. And let's get started over on AMC Plus, which to be frank, most of my picks come from one very specific piece of AMC Plus, and that's Shudder, the streaming service for horror. And this week I am picking one of the all-time great horror films, arguably the greatest slasher film of all time, and that is 1978's Halloween. And this is a lean 91-minute thriller slasher horror flick from writer director John Carpenter. And this is really the film that made John Carpenter and put him on the map. He had films before this, and some good ones at that. But this film, which was made for a relatively pretty small budget for 1978, turned out to be a mega hit. This was a film that sparked decades of slasher films from those late 70s through the 80s and into the 90s, as you had Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, all spinning off of this, Candyman, and all different kinds of films. But what makes this film so special is that it is impeccably made. You have from the opening scene that dynamic, engaging, and horrifying POV shot from behind the mask of an eerie stalker into murder, and the shocking reveal of who this was just from the opening scene. And Carpenter's trademark POV filmmaking really works its way into this film in an extremely effective way. The whole first act of the film is in broad daylight and is just as eerie. And the most iconic element of this film, of course, is the killer Halloween score. And that theme to that jack-o'-lantern during the credits, just absolutely perfect. But there's so many great cracks from this score that Carpenter made himself. It is eerie, its tones, it just really works. And so many great scares throughout the film. And Michael Myers is one of the iconic horror movie villains in that creepy, white painted William Shatner mask. And there's just so many great filmmaking moments from Michael peeking out eerily from the shadows behind Laurie Strode, or when you think all has been finished, him sitting up, influencing Undertaker style, in the background of the shot, and all the way up to the haunting and very impactful and metaphorical final shot of this film. You have a great performance from Jamie Lee Curtis, who became a certified scream queen, and of course Donald Pleasance as Dr. Loomis, his unhinged energy that he brought and his veteran presence to this film. This is iconic. And what makes it so great is that it used filmmaking techniques to build terror and horror instead of cheap thrills and bloody slasher moments. This made you feel unnerved. It was pretty reserved and only flashes of violence. And what makes this film so special, especially compared to, the infinite amount of other sequels that came out of this film. But this one is indeed the all time great, the classic, the Halloween film. And it's right there on AMC Plus. Next up, over on Peacock, I felt an urge like this is a huge film and probably many of you have seen this, especially if you're a millennial, you grew up on this, but it's very topical with the constant talk every few weeks or so of new casting news for this remake series over on Max. And you're probably guessing what I'm talking about now, but this was a phenomenon. If you like, I was 10 years old when Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone came out, and this was peak fantasy. This and Lord of the Rings, the Fellowship of the Ring came out 1 month from each other, basically. And 2001 was a monumental year for live action fantasy where animation really was king for fantasy for so long. And finally, something like Harry Potter just captured the imagination, opened up this magical world, and this was the perfect first film to allow kids, allow families to get into and be enveloped into this wizarding world of Harry Potter. The tone is magical, it is endearing, it is charming as hell. And Chris Columbus did such a great job with these first two films. He might not have been the best choice for the rest of them, and maybe why he was not there for the rest of them. But he was a great choice for this first film, capturing this tone of wonder and joy and just absolute majesty of what this world could be. And of course, John Williams' score just brings all the magic to life. And in hindsight, they hit the jackpot by the casting of Daniel Radcliffe, Rupert Grint, and Emma Watson as Harry, Ron, and Hermione, and just an incredible stacked supporting cast from Richard Harris as Dumbledore and Robbie Coltrane as Hagrid. And in hindsight, just how incredible a casting choice Alan Rickman as Snape was, and just so many great performances throughout this film. Some, sure, maybe some of the special effects like the CGI hasn't aged well, but there's still tons of practical effects in this that just absolutely capture the wonder of it all. And this is such a great hero's journey, a classic tale, and it has its spooky moments. It has its wondrous holiday Christmas moments, and just an overall majesty about it that just draws you in and just envelops you in the charm of it all. And lastly, we're going to be heading over to the Criterion channel and talking about one of the original animated feature films, and that is from 1926, The Adventures of Prince Achmed. And this film is indeed one of the first ever animated films, feature films from start to finish. It uses this incredible silhouette animation of these cutouts and how they move and are backlit with rich colors, and how this tells a magical tale of a handsome prince who rides a flying horse to faraway lands and embarks on magical adventures. And this film draws upon so many great mythological and legendary tales and just brings them to life with so much majesty. This 80-minute film is loosely plotted, but Lot Reininger is someone who she just absolutely captured the wonder and magic of what fantasy can really be and what animation can do. There's so many great character designs, and what's so impressive are these are all just silhouettes cut out and put into motion. And they're able to capture so much emotion and so many wondrous worlds and stories, seeing all of these different kinds of things. You'll just be in awe and wonder from start to finish. This feels more anthology, threaded together little tales all together, but it's just such a wondrous adventure for Prince Ahmed, and going on this magical journey with him, going toe to toe with witch doctors and meeting Aladdin and battling demons and falling in love with princesses. And these are based off of the stories from the Arabian Nights, and it just has so many great tales to tell in it. And just from like a technical standpoint, this is absolutely miraculous that this was made in 1926. And if you're interested in exploring some history of cinema, this is certainly one of those films that is a must watch and just an awe-inspiring experience to just go through for the first time. But that is a wrap here for another episode of the Streaming Wasteland. And let's do a little bit of a recap. So, over on AMC Plus, we have 1978's Halloween. Over on Peacock, we have 2001's Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. And bonus recommendation, just give a Harry Potter weekend and watch all eight of them. and make your own marathon. And finally, over on the Criterion channel from 1926, it's The Adventures of Prince Achmed. But thank you for listening. Make sure to like, comment, and share on this episode. What's your favorite horror slasher flick? What is your that childhood series that really captured your imagination? And what's some of the oldest animated films you've checked out? And make sure to follow or subscribe wherever you listen to your podcast. The SPDM Crew Podcasting Network is ever expanding, almost to the point where I don't know if I could keep up with all these shows. It's just so much great content. We have a little bit for everybody. And if you have an idea for a podcast and you want to get involved on the crew, make sure to reach out. If you want to be a guest on some of our shows like Flicks and Chill and the Wasteland Watchlist, head on over and reach out as well. And if you like our logo, check out HiFlyer Creative for all your digital marketing needs. But most importantly, thank you as always for tuning in and supporting the Streaming Wasteland here on the SPDM Crew Podcasting Network.